DeGrandis has made his way to the ring. He has a 10-round super middleweight showdown with Bernice Barber. Bob Hoppo along with Al Bernstein, and Joey DeGrandis has won his last 9. He's won his last 4 by way of knockout. This is a good test for him tonight.
It really is. He's won his last 9 in the friendly environs of this area, but going against Bernice Barber is a step up for him. Even though Barber is a journeyman, this is a better guy than Joey DeGrandis is used to facing, and he has created quite a stir here in the Boston area.
Mark Buchanan is the lone common opponent. Each boxer recorded wins against Buchanan. Meanwhile, Bernice Barber is a guy who's 4-5 in his last 9. He wants to make a statement here tonight.
Yeah, the interesting thing, though, as you think of the recent record, among the 2 people he has lost to, one is Julio Cesar Green, who just took the middleweight championship from William Joppy, and also Paul Vaden, who in fact was a junior middleweight champion. Bernice Barber is a guy who feels that he can win this fight. This is a winnable fight for him.
Well, Bernice Barber has designs on winning this bout tonight. Joey DeGrandis has visions of grandeur for a bigger and better career. When we asked Joey DeGrandis about his style, he says he's a throwback.
I consider myself as an aggressive fighter, like the old timers such as Rocky Marciano, Jake LaMotta, Rocky Graziano. They were aggressive. They were dogs, and that's what I am. I bang to the body. I bang up top. I'm just nonstop. I just keep doing whatever I can do to get the job done.
I'm going to this fight pretty much looking for him to be there. I don't plan on having to find Joey DeGrandis. And like every fight, start with my jab and see what happens. Just see what happens. Go to the body. I know it's a 10-round fight. Go to the body early. See if I can make sure that he's at least slowed down some by the time the late rounds come in.
I'm number 10th in the world by the WBO at super middleweights, and he's trying to take what I got. And, if I want to go any further, I got to get by this guy. This means a lot. This is everything. Forget about in the future. I got to deal with this guy here. Without dealing with him, I ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? The fight's in my hometown. It's very important. It means a lot. And I'll tell you, I'm going to come out smoking.
There is Joey DeGrandis coming off a second-round knockout of Ernest Kennedy in June of this year in Massachusetts. Let's send it to our ring announcer, Alan Weiner.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next event, 10 rounds of boxing, super middleweight division. Our referee for this bout is Ed Fitzgerald. And introducing in the red corner, hailing from Virginia Beach, Virginia, the USBA regional champion with a professional record of 14-6-2, 8 by KO. He weighed in at 167.5 pounds. In the red trunks, Bernice the Heat Barber. And ladies and gentlemen, introducing in the blue corner, hailing from South Boston, Massachusetts, he weighed in at 169 pounds with a professional record of 22-3, 11 by KO, Joey D. DeGrandis!
You understand? Any questions in the red corner? Questions in the blue corner. Let's go.
There's Bernice Barber. He is 8 days older than Joey DeGrandis, born on March the 3rd. DeGrandis born on March the 11th, both of 1969. And there is DeGrandis. He has won 9 in a row. DeGrandis has one first-round knockout. It came 6 years, 6 months, and 17 fights ago. In February of '91 against Marco Dixon, Barber has one first-round knockout. It came in January of 1995 against Tracy Cofield. Neither man tremendous punchers. 11 knockouts for DeGrandis in 25 bouts. Barber has 8 in 22.
Bernice Barber will very much like to get through these early rounds. He's coming in off a 5-month layoff, which is considerable. He would like to get through these early rounds, start working on DeGrandis a little bit, as he said, use his jab, not get caught against those ropes, which is where he is, and not get hit with the DeGrandis left hook, which is the best punch that Joey has. You see DeGrandis using the hook. That is the staple of his attack, and if you let him walk to you and get right off your chest, he's going to give you problems, and that's what Barber has done.
Despite the fact that DeGrandis is just a pound and a half heavier, from a physique standpoint, he is much bigger than Barber. Barber has fought at 116 in the 150s. You see his waistline is much smaller. DeGrandis has fought as heavy as light heavyweight.
DeGrandis is getting the hook in, but Barber is also countering him with the right.
Crowd loving those shots by DeGrandis, but Barber blocking a lot of it.
I don't think we have to tell you who the hometown fighter is.
Good left to the ear by DeGrandis.
Bernice Barber has chosen to fight a first round that is not at all a feeling-out process. He stood right toe-to-toe with DeGrandis. And while you might say that was a tactical error, it might turn out to be a good move for Barber if he can take the best that DeGrandis offers and hang in there.
Al, as the fans at home just look at this picture, and when we widen out a little bit, good hook to the body by Barber. I mean, these two guys look like they're in totally different weight classes.
Yeah, you're right. When you look at Barber's waistline and DeGrandis, there's the double hook getting there and maybe rocking Barber a little bit. Well, if Barber decides to fight it this way, we're going to have a very exciting bout for however long it lasts. Low blow by DeGrandis. That was a triple left hook by Joey DeGrandis.
I was going to call it a double because the last one was low, but it was triple. And Barber is fighting DeGrandis' bout here in round one.
And I'm sure when he goes back to the corner, Jack Kreider, his trainer, will be telling Bernice, hey, you're fighting his fight. You've got to use the jab and create a little distance between the two of you.
That's the end of round number one, scheduled for 10. Good round number one. We take you into the corner of, well, we're going to go into Joey DeGrandis' corner. Let's listen up. Now we're going to go into Bernice Barber's corner.
What you're doing is you're landing to the body, but you're just landing one time. You're happy with one time. You got to come over top, son. Okay? I know you're a slow starter, but now it's time to fucking put it in over gear and fucking this boy up, all right? He's nothing.
You can't keep that up.
No. You're fine. No. You're fine.
All right, let's find out about Bernice Barber and his impressions of taking on Joey DeGrandis in DeGrandis' hometown and the importance of this bout for Barber.
With this fight here, this is almost a must for me. If I don't win this one, I need to think about, what I want to do, besides boxing, because, I'm no opponent fighter. I'm no opponent fighter. To me, what an opponent fighter is a guy who goes into other people's towns, takes fights for the money. You're there to lose. That ain't me. That's not me. And before I become that, I get out. I do something else.
All right, Bernice Barber says he will not be an opponent, and in round number one, Al, he fought the fight that DeGrandis wants to see.
I've never heard that put in such an articulate fashion by any athlete, and I thought that was very well said by Barber. Good left hook by DeGrandis. You know what? DeGrandis landed 69 of 87 punches. 69, rather, were power shots by DeGrandis in the last round, so he only threw 18 jabs. The rest were all power shots.
How about Barber's corner saying, I know you're a slow starter, but move a little. DeGrandis has 3 second-round knockouts. Barber has 2. Wild right hand missed by DeGrandis.
This is a small ring. That's good for Joey DeGrandis. It's a slow ring. But Barber needs to create a little space between he and DeGrandis. He can't use the jab and his normal reach without creating that space. He's fighting right off the chest of DeGrandis.
Okay, so you're sitting there at home saying, what does Al mean by small ring, slow ring? Well, it's only 18 feet by 18 feet inside, and it's very soft, bouncy. It's not a hard surface, so that it's tougher to move.
Not created for a boxer. And, of course, this is the ring Joey DeGrandis is so used to fighting in. And he is still whacking away with those left hooks.
broken shot to the stomach by Barber.
DeGrandis won 16 of his first 17 fights fighting out in California. Then he took on Luke Aquino, the former junior middleweight champion, and lost to him, and that was a turning point. Then he came back here to the east. He had been working with the Goosens out west, and since then has won 9 straight fights, and has been impressive in doing it. Bernice Barber tactically is fighting absolutely the wrong fight.
And from what we were able to gauge after round 1, his corner knows it too.
He is absorbing all kinds of body shots and punches that he doesn't need to. Now, he took this fight on kind of short notice as well, so he may not have been quite as ready as he wanted to be, and maybe he doesn't have the movement in him.
Good left hand by DeGrandis. The other 2 were blocked.
I'm going to tell you something about Joey DeGrandis. It's been a while since I've seen him. He's improved.
Final seconds of round 2. The chance of Joey for the hometown favorite, Joey DeGrandis. Round 3 after this timeout. ESPN2 welcomes you back to the Roxy in Boston. Live on this Sunday evening. Bob Papa along with Al Bernstein. 10-round super middleweight bout between Boston's own Joey DeGrandis in the white and green. Bernice Barber of Virginia Beach in the red and white. We take a look at the numbers through the first 2 rounds of the scheduled 10-rounder.
DeGrandis has not only been busy, he has been accurate, landing 50% of his punches, but you see when Barber does punch, not all that bad. 31% is not an embarrassment.
Al, we figured Barber to want to move because DeGrandis is heavy-handed and he likes to throw power shots. Why do you think Barber is allowing DeGrandis to just tee off?
Well, one possible explanation, DeGrandis has never been past 8 rounds, and Barber may be thinking that he can make him punch himself out. Barber's been 10 rounds 3 times, and he's been 12 rounds twice, so he's used to going the distance. The only problem, if that is Barber's strategy, is he's going to absorb so many body punches, it's going to affect his stamina as well. But there is no question Barber wants this bout to go into the later rounds, where DeGrandis has absolutely never been.
Take a look at Al's scorecard. 2 rounds to zip for DeGrandis. And if you're wondering about your picture, DeGrandis only 1.5 pounds heavier than Barber. But
hard to believe.
But as we mentioned, he has fought at light heavy, whereas Barber has fought at middle and even lighter. So you're talking about a 15-pound difference.
You know what I like about Joey DeGrandis? He is clearly not the most skilled fighter on the planet, but I got to tell you something. He fights his style, and he fights it as well as he can fight it. He never deviates. He does exactly what he knows he can do, and he does it to the best of his ability, and some of it is done pretty well. What you have to do if you're going to beat Joey DeGrandis is have lots of power to keep him off you, be very busy, or just be a fighter on another level.
You're looking at knockout history. Barber has 3 third-round knockouts. That is the most he's ever accumulated in any round. DeGrandis has 2.
DeGrandis showing a good variety of punches as he works his way and throwing hooks, uppercuts, everything.
Oh, that right hand scored. A lot of those punches are being blocked by Barber, despite what the crowd thinks, but not that one.
This is by far the best I've ever seen Joey DeGrandis fight, and I mean by far.
Barber trying to answer back. Al, remember, he blocked a lot of those punches, was not hurt.
And this would lend credence to the fact that he wants DeGrandis to punch himself out. In microcosm, that's what he's done in this round. I think the plot will thicken as these rounds continue.
Final seconds of round 3. This shaping up to be a good one. DeGrandis and Barber on the deuce.
Joey DeGrandis throws lots of combinations. You see him working the inside, and I like the variety of punches. There's hooks, there's uppercuts mixed in here. He will normally work both the body and the head. There he concentrated primarily on the head. But look at him with the variety of punches. Not everything landed, it's true, but he was keeping Barber busy.
And we begin round number 4 of the scheduled 10-rounder. But you wonder if Barber sent a message to DeGrandis at the end of round number 3 with his barrage of power shots as we look at some more numbers.
Well, obviously, Joey DeGrandis is getting the job done. He's landing at 51%. Here's the irony. The last fight that was counted by CompuBox by him against Charles Smith in 1997, January, what percentage did he land? 51%. So he is very consistent.
In the corner of DeGrandis, Lou Duva was urging him to stay off the ropes, not get backed into corners.
Now, Bernice Barber showing us some movement and a jab. Oh, my! He got whacked with the right hand.
Boy, he moved just enough to avoid getting knocked out. Each man with one fourth-round knockout on their resume.
There's Barber trying to land a counter punch as DeGrandis came in. You know, even though the temptation would be to say Joey DeGrandis is just an unskilled brawler, that would be absolutely wrong, because even defensively, he's not that easy to hit, and he's worked on his defense. See how he keeps his hands up even as he's coming in? Probably not as much head movement as they'd like, but see there, he made him miss and landed it right.
Unfolding nicely for Joey DeGrandis, the 28-year-old from Boston, Massachusetts, against veteran Bernice Barber. There's a right hand and a left hand from DeGrandis.
How much impact will the 5-month layoff have on Barber? I think it's making a difference here. I don't think he's as sharp as he would like to be, especially in terms of the punches he's throwing.
Last fought on March the 29th in Nevada, knocked out in the 4th round by Julio Green.
And of course, that is the same Julio Cesar Green who just knocked out William Joppi to win the WBA middleweight title. And of course, one of his other recent losses was to Paul Vaden, the former junior middleweight title holder. That was over 10 rounds.
Good hook to the body. We come to the end of round 4. Joey DeGrandis and Bernice Barber. Look over Lou Duva's shoulder into the corner of Joey DeGrandis.
You're boxing beautiful.
Step back. Forward side to side. There you go. There you go. That's the ball game right there.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Do I got the fight?
Yeah, you got the fight, but just don't yeah.
Well, defense is important to Joey DeGrandis. Watch this. He makes Barber miss and then lands his own counter right hand that kind of knocks Barber off. And that's how defense can help you if you counter. Nice move. No way Joey DeGrandis would have been able to do this move maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights ago from the Joey DeGrandis that I remember. He is improving radically.
Round 5 underway. DeGrandis has 2 fifth-round knockouts. Barber has none. Take a look at the numbers in round 4 only.
DeGrandis winning that round rather decisively. Now, there's 39 punches thrown by Barber. He's only averaging about 50 punches per round, and in that round, even not that much. So he's going to have to be busier if he expects to win this bout.
His corner was honest with him in between rounds. He asked them, do I have the fight? And they said, to this point, you do.
Norman Stone in the corner along with Lou Duva in the DeGrandis corner. Jack Kreider working with Bernice Barber. Ooh, nice right by Barber. Let's see if it had an impact.
Barber does not bring a whole lot of power to the dance. 8 knockouts in his career. And only 1 after 4 rounds. That coming in the 9th round. Earlier in his career.
One of the mistakes Barber is making is he is hooking with DeGrandis. You don't hook with a left hooker. You try and find a different weapon, because when you throw your hook, it opens up his hook to land. The right hand is a more appropriate weapon for Barber. He's landing it in this round. For the first time, he backs DeGrandis against the rope.
Now DeGrandis fights his way out of that match.
Barber with only 8 KOs in a total of 22 matches doesn't bring huge power. He's going to have to back up DeGrandis with something like that right hand he landed earlier.
Every time it seems that Barber is mounting some type of comeback, DeGrandis has an answer.
This is a very entertaining boxing match.
Chant of Joey from the hometown fans here in Boston.
And Barber is showing you that his comments that he is not a journeyman who comes to lose are absolutely accurate. He is a guy that comes every time to try and win, and he is trying here tonight.
Has he given up too much, though, through the first 5 rounds of this bout? The midway point, what a war.
His right hand.
Now the corner of Bernice Barber reminding him this is not a 12-round fight, it's a 10-round fight. Son, get busy.
Throw it.
Take a look at some of his work in round 5.
Bernice Barber had his best round, the first round in the bout that I gave him. He was aggressive. This straight right hand set the tone for the round. And even though DeGrandis came back for a little while, Barber pushed him against ropes and worked both the body and the head. DeGrandis doing a good job of blocking some of those punches, but a lot of them got through, and Bernice Barber had his best round by far.
Round 6 underway in the scheduled 10-round super middleweight bout. Still to come, our main event, Jose Rivera and Teddy Reed. Take a look at the numbers in round number 5.
And part of the reason Barber did better, I ended up giving him the round, even though DeGrandis ended up having the edge in punch profile. He threw a lot more punches than he's been throwing. But you see the accuracy of DeGrandis. He continues to be very accurate with the punches he's throwing. See, there's some feints from Barber. Very important. You have to do that against the DeGrandis. You've got to take him out of his game a little bit.
Al, take a look at your scorecard through 5 rounds.
I have given Barber 1 round and the rest to Joey DeGrandis. And remember, DeGrandis has never, ever, ever, ever been past 8 rounds. And Barber has been 10 rounds 3 times and 12 rounds twice. So we'll have to look and see how DeGrandis deals with it if this fight goes that long.
And Barber has a 9th round knockout, so all told, he's been past 8 rounds 6 times. Good hook to the body by DeGrandis.
And as you saw from that camera angle, those body shots to Barber are wicked, and they will take their toll and could negate that statistic that I just told you, because Barber gets hit with a lot of body shots as he is. He may be tired at the end as well.
Don't understand Barber's game plan from the beginning of this bout, and I think even his corner at times was wondering why he took that approach.
I think they thought he would be in this posture much more often in the center of the ring at a distance from DeGrandis. See, that's what they wanted him to do. When you give movement to a Joey DeGrandis, and if you can jab, and if you can throw combinations from the outside, you give him lots and lots of trouble.
I don't know if Barber was hurt or he stumbled. DeGrandis thinks he was hurt.
And he is whacking them with some pretty good shots. And now Barber in that familiar posture against the rope. You can see, though, the number of punches DeGrandis is throwing has starting to go down. Less and less do we see Joey initiating the action here, even though he's still doing quite well.
Approaching the final 10 seconds of round 6. This one scheduled for 10 rounds in the super middleweight division. Joey DeGrandis and Bernice Barber. Hope you're enjoying it on The Deuce.
Accustomed 52%. I don't know what that was about coming out as a lefty. Maybe just to give him another look, but I would doubt that he would stay in that posture very long. Barber has actually created a better situation for himself, even though he's not winning these rounds, by staying on the outside. It's a better place for him, but he's not been able to land like he wants to. mentioned Joey DeGrandis started his career out in California under the tutelage of the Goosens and had pretty good success, but 2 of his losses came all out there against John McClain in his 3rd pro fight and also against Roland Williams. But he's a delightful young man, and interestingly, Joey DeGrandis attended the first celebrity rodeo that I ever rode in. He came by with Danny Goosen, and he had a nice comment. He said, you did pretty good. He said, but you're like me, you're still learning. And he was right.
Midway point of round 7, and hopefully, like DeGrandis' boxing, your rodeo riding has gotten better.
Well, I have to say it has improved. Now, even though Barber has got things on the outside, he's going to have to make the most of it. That's how you do it, with the jab and a straight right hand. Now, there's a subtle change happening here, folks. Joey DeGrandis is starting to be less active. He's only thrown 26 punches in this round. And again, we're heading toward the point that he has never been to in a fight, which is past 8 rounds. He's gone 8, but never passed it. And we see Barber continuing to be active here.
But does Barber have enough to make it a difference?
That is the question. And has he fallen too far behind even to make a difference?
He does have 1 late knockout, does Barber. That a 9th round knockout.
DeGrandis did show us pretty good defense there. Even though he wasn't punching, he was blocking a lot of those shots by Barber.
Final seconds of round 7. 3 more rounds to go. Barber and DeGrandis from the Roxy in Boston.
Stop.
Great setting for a fight, the Roxy in Boston, Massachusetts. That's where we are settled tonight. Hope you're enjoying it on the deuce. Bob Papa, Al Bernstein. Round number 8 underway between Joey DeGrandis and Bernice Barber in what has been a very entertaining bout. Fought at a fever pitch through the first 7 rounds. DeGrandis looking for his 23rd victory. Barber, who has lost 2 of his last 3, trying to get back on the beam as you look at the numbers through 7 rounds.
Clearly, Joey DeGrandis with a huge edge, one that it would take a big finish for Barber to alter. There's just a slip. You mentioned the Roxy. We're nestled in the theater district here in Boston. The River Dance is playing across the way. The King and I is a couple of doors down, and no boxing fans, that's not the story of Don King. Rogers and Hammerstein collaborated for that.
Good setting here at the Roxy. Take a look at Al's scorecard through 7 rounds.
I've got DeGrandis winning by 5. And it is conceivable that the judges even have a wider margin. I gave a couple of rounds, I believe, to Barber, but it's just been Joey DeGrandis' fight, and we're going to find out here in these later rounds whether he's got the stamina to do well in the later rounds, because I think Bernice Barber's going to take him in a few more rounds here at least.
Midway point of round 8. DeGrandis has 2 8th-round knockouts in his career. Barber joking with DeGrandis, but it's DeGrandis who's getting the last laugh to this point.
And it is definitely too late for Barber to do anything but win by knockout. So no matter how exceptional these last few rounds would be for him, even with knockdowns, I don't see how he could win this fight unless he knocks Joey DeGrandis out.
Yeah, I mean, you had a 5-point swing. I have it 3. I gave the last round to Barber. But still, it's DeGrandis landing the meaningful punches.
Look what a different fighter Joey DeGrandis is when you stand right in front of him. When you give him some movement, he has problems. But when you're in front of him, he's always going to be effective unless you are so powerful that you knock him out. Joey DeGrandis has dogged determination, and he has a belief in his system. He has a belief in what Norman Stone and Lou Dooley have been doing. He follows his instructions to a T. He continues to jab, 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 work the body, hook to the head. He does it over and over again.
Another good round for Joey DeGrandis. 2 more to go for the Roxy.
remember Lee when he was the coach at Indiana, and I was living in Chicago, Big Ten fan, and he did remarkable things with that program.
And Chris Fowler does the ultimate job of playing police officer and keeping order in the studio.
And that ain't easy with that crew.
Take a look at the numbers in round 8.
Joey DeGrandis having a big round for himself. His percentage dropping just a bit, but Bernice Barber having a tough time hitting him. And you know, people denigrate the defense of Joey DeGrandis a little, but let me tell you, he is not a bad defensive fighter. And in the other bout in which CompuBox tracked him against Charles Smith, Smith only landed 23% of his punches, and I'm not sure Barber isn't below that tonight. So defensively, Joey DeGrandis has some skills. Really, the big question about Joey will be the next time he has a chance to step up, as he did against the Lupe Aquino, will he be able to perform a little bit better? Maybe this time he will.
DeGrandis has never been past 8 rounds. This is a maiden voyage for him. 6 times Barber has gone past the 8-round mark.
The last time we were here at the Roxy, Peter Cardona and Charles Murray hooked up in a memorable duel. And tonight we're having some exciting boxing at the Roxy as well.
The 9th round knockout for Barber came back in 1995 when he knocked out Patrick Bird in the 9th round in Michigan.
He's going to need one tonight. Now, I'll tell you what, even from the outside now, DeGrandis is throwing good combinations. DeGrandis standing a little too straight up, though, and while Barber is not able to hit him, there are middleweights out there who will, if he stays in this kind of posture. He needs to bend a little more at the waist.
Barber doing absolutely nothing. Good right hand.
A lead right by DeGrandis. That's what I like about him. Oh my, what an uppercut by Barber.
But he did not hurt DeGrandis. Well, that's the kind of uppercut that sends you flying.
And Barber got a lot of leverage in that punch. He thinks maybe he hurt DeGrandis. Let's see. I don't know.
Final seconds of round 9. Can Bernice Barber pull off the upset? We'll find out after.
Bernice Barber had this opportunity to turn this fight. He took it, but it didn't do any good for him. Now that is a first-class uppercut. Joey DeGrandis walked right through it.
Crowd on their feet here in round 10. Spurred on by DeGrandis, who hopped off his stool and started swinging his arms wildly to get the crowd juiced up for this final round.
Well, they're plenty fired up, and you can hear it as we can. You see the numbers. DeGrandis landing very close to 50% and making Barber miss to the tune of 75% of his punches, as the Barber only lands 25%.
Boy, if Barber couldn't get DeGrandis out with that uppercut. A little short right inside by DeGrandis. Neither man has been down.
Well, at 28 years of age, Joey DeGrandis is trying desperately to make a statement so that he can get himself a big chance. He's rated number 10 by the WBO. Many people questioned it, but looking at this performance, he's in against a guy who was knocked out by Julio Cesar Green in the 4th round, a man who just won the WBA title, went 10 rounds with Paul Vaden. Bernice Barber is not a complete journeyman. He's a guy that has some skills, and DeGrandis has dominated him, so that makes a statement.
Al scorecard.
And to me, that statement is that DeGrandis is not only far ahead in this spot, but he can't lose it unless he gets knocked out. And whether Joey DeGrandis ever becomes a world champion, and certainly many people would argue that that's not possible. what he has done with his boxing career, and you have to respect it, is he retooled when he came back east. He tried to learn from Norman Stone and Lou Duva and all the people that have tried to help him, and he has improved himself at least 50%, and honestly, you can't ask for much more than that from an athlete.
Roundhouse right over the top from DeGrandis. Referee Ed Fitzgerald steps in. He's had a fairly easy night.
And for Bernice Barber, this scenario may lead him to believe that he is not capable of fighting with the big boys. Right now, Joey DeGrandis has got it all going his way.
Just teeing off.
They love it here in Boston.
Final seconds of the bout. There it is. DeGrandis and Barber embrace. Crowd here in Boston loves it. Maybe the biggest win of DeGrandis' career. We'll find out what the judges thought after this timeout on the Deuce. War. Let's find out what the judges thought. Here's Alan Weiner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by unanimous decision, Joey D. DeGrandis. And ladies and gentlemen, give both these fighters an overwhelming fight that was. Give
Not a big surprise there, Al. Good performance.
Joey DeGrandis got the job done, and his guy Norman Stone was yelling in the crowd, what about Dana Rosenblatt? Well, that'd be an interesting matchup.
And Lou Duva was saying, how about a challenge with Vinny Pazienza? All New England. There's some numbers.
And Joey DeGrandis dominating with 45% landed, only 26% for Barber. And he does open up the possibilities of some interesting matchups for himself. He's not proven yet he's a world-class fighter, but I'll tell you what, he's proven he's close.
He is now 23-3 with 11 knockouts. Joey DeGrandis, a unanimous decision.